Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone, everywhere, depending on where and when you are joining Africa Online. We are so delighted that you are here with us today. It is Sunday, the 6th of July. Can you believe it? It's July 6th already. And in July, most people are thinking about Independence Day, until we had Juneteenth. So now everybody's mind is not on the 4th of July celebrations because more people are celebrating their Juneteenth celebration. But it is still a national holiday. It is still over 200 years old. And is it really working for us? Hmm. Is it being all that we thought it was going to be? Welcome again to Africa Online. And today our topic is freedom and independence. Are we seeing freedom and independence 200 plus years later? We're going to explore that conversation today. And we are excited to be joined with my co-host, Professor Nia-san, who will give you the editorial of today. How are
Greeting.
you? What's going on down in your neck of the woods, my brother?
Oh, fine, thank you. We're 87 degrees, rather, 87 degrees Fahrenheit as at this moment talking to you. And we don't expect any rain today. We had rain last week, early in the week, but today it's very, very hot out there. So welcome back to the program. It's a good day. It's a good Sunday. My pleasure. And here we go. July is the 7th month of the year in both the Julian and Gregorian calendars. It has a length of 31 days. It was named by the Roman Senate in honor of Roman General Julius Caesar in 44 BC, and because it is his birth month. So Julius Caesar was born in July. Were you also born in July? Well, I have a lot of friends who tell me they were born in July. Today, July 6th, is a day to note. Well, it is a birthday for somebody like Sylvester Stallone and George W. Bush. They were born in July too, I think especially to July 6th today. So happy birthday to them. There are two notable events that I took note of, and I think we all should share, but please don't quote me. It is National Fried Chicken Day. That is for the United States. They like chicken, they love chicken, they enjoy chicken. And take note of this one. It is International Kissing Day. Please don't say you heard that from me. International Kissing Day.
So when they kiss, can they tell or they should not tell?
Well, if you have intimate friends, you can tell, but not everybody else.
I say don't tell. Let's kiss and not tell.
Mm-hmm.
So today, July 6th, is the 187th day of the year. We passed the middle of the year already. There are 365 days, 366 days in the year, so 187 means we've passed the middle. There are thus 178 days left until the end of the year. Today is the 27th Sunday of 2025, on the 28th week of 2025, if we use United States number calculations. We are also on the 17th day of summer. So Ambassador Lisa, I know you like this when I say it. That leaves us with 78 days until fall or autumn. Well, in North America, we say fall. In Europe, they say autumn. Our reflection today kicks off the first discussion program for the month of July with a rather broad topic: freedom and independence. Are these mere socio-political concepts, or do they really mean something concrete to you and I and all of us? This month of July sees the United States celebrating the 4th of July, that was on Friday, and France celebrating the 14th of July, that is still ahead of us. America won its rite of passage, that is independence, through revolution and war, while France passed through revolution, tyranny, and death. Remember the French Revolution. Both France and the United States hold freedom, liberty, and equality as cornerstones of their very existence. What is freedom? What is independence? Who deserves freedom and who deserves independence? Or do we all have both freedom and independence? Are they both mutual? Are they just two words in the dictionary? We quickly state that we are no experts on the topic of freedom or of independence, but we can, from what we know or have gleaned from here and there, provide some definitions. And so, we can say that freedom is the power or right to speak, act, and change as one wants without hindrance or restraint. It is often associated with liberty and autonomy in the sense of, quote, giving oneself one's own laws. Independence, on the other hand, refers to the condition of a nation or a state where its residents exercise self-government and sovereignty over their territory, free from external control. Independence, yes. It signifies freedom from being governed or ruled by another country. A notable historical context, of course, that comes to mind is, quote, the Declaration of Independence, which marked the United States' claim to independence from Great Britain on July 4th, 1776. We witnessed some of the fanfare that goes with that day last Friday, those of us in North America. The fanfare and fireworks demonstrate that condition of a nation, a country, or a state in which residents and population or some other part of the population exercise self-government and usually sovereignty over their territory. The commemoration of Independence Day of a country or a nation celebrates when a country is free from all forms of colonialism, free to build a country or nation without any interference from other nations. America won their right from Britain because they were first governed by Britain, but because of taxation without representation, which was one of the conditions, they had to separate. Overall, we can say independence embodies the essence of self-determination and autonomy. Freedom, on its part, is the power or right to speak, act, and change as one wants without hindrance, as we already said. And freedom is often associated with liberty and the autonomy in the sense of, quote, giving oneself one's own laws. Yes, when you're free, you can decide to go and come as you like, but then there are always constraints. In modern times, independent and free nations generally have and show full rights, acting and expressing freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of the press. That said, we know that during the 20th century, the wave of colonization that was witnessed at the beginning of that time, in the middle of that century, colonies gained rights to independence through documents such as the 1960 United Nations Declaration on the Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples, mostly applicable only to those territories that were not yet free and had to gain independence, especially in Africa, South America, the Caribbean, and Asia. Freedom and independence are often used interchangeably, but they have distinct meanings. Freedom refers to the ability, as we already said, to act, to speak, or to think without restraint or control. It is the state of being able to make choices and decisions without interference. And independence, on its part, refers to the state of being self-reliant and self-sufficient. It is the ability to govern oneself and not be independent and not be dependent, rather, on others for support or guidance. While freedom allows for autonomy and individuality, independence emphasizes self-sufficiency and self-reliance. Both concepts are essential for personal growth and fulfillment. Freedom or independence are therefore partners inviting us, in the words of Frenchman Alexis de Tocqueville, not because I like French people, but because Alexis de Tocqueville was in this country and wrote a lot. So he says that we should know that, quote, when the past no longer illuminates the future, the spirit walks in darkness. So shall we walk forward guided by the light of love and understanding, or continue walking backwards into the darkness of prejudice, dictatorship, brinksmanship, discrimination, and indifference. The choice is up to everyone and each nation, and depending on what we think or what our country thinks, we have to look for a better life for everyone that lives within that country, or the individual has to have that freedom, which makes it possible for him or her, for them to live their lives as fully as they can, with the state just supporting what they do in their lives. As Africa Online Media Corporation's chair, Her Highness Reverend Dr. Palm, will now welcome all of us to this program today as we start the discussion on freedom and independence. Reverend Palm.
Thank you so much, the incomparable Mr. Asonglefak or Professor Asonglefak Kemleke. I'm not gonna say anything about kissing, even though I just did. That's an indirect way of saying it. But thank you so much. This topic just came. We've never handled a topic like this in 9.5 years. But let me start by welcoming you, Nia Song, and my beautiful Ambassador Lisa, who I don't know whether to call her out for not being here last week. And now she's talking about next month. I'm gonna cry, but anyway. Madam Ambassador, you are a pillar in this organization, in this program. Thank you so much with your happy colors from head to toe. Dr. Crosby was on, I think wherever she dials from, maybe there's Wi-Fi connectivity problems. So you see, connectivity is not just in Africa, it's in Virginia right here. But I also want to welcome all our viewers. Before I say anything about today's topic, I want to make a plea out to the students. We need some student interns. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. You can join us and do some volunteer work for us, and you'll get a service learning opportunity or certificate, So if you're out there, you're a student or an instructor or a professor, we need some student interns, especially with those in the Department of Journalism, or communications. Your students we need some young blood here to help with pushing this program on social media, because we have a lot of content, 9.5 years of content, which can be put on all platforms, and we need the students to do that. So today's topic, freedom and independence, I want to kind of tweak it a little bit. Let's talk about, an angle. Let's look at an angle of the independence of our freedom or the freedom of our independence. Is our freedom really independent? Like, especially in where we live and in the atmosphere today? Yes, freedom, you can say, can say everything you want to say, because you cannot scream fire, in a crowded building. You'll land yourself behind bars. But how independent is our freedom? I'm posing this question to you, Nia Song, and Ambassador Lisa, and all our listeners, those who are listening on YouTube. How independent is our freedom? Is our freedom guarded? And how free is our independence? Let's take, I'm not going to mention any country, but in your editorial, you alluded to independence relating to some nations, even though they also relate to individuals, not relying on anybody, rely on yourself. But how free is their independence? There are a lot of countries in sub-Saharan Africa that are not free. They may be independent, but they are not free, because they have to answer to the former colonial masters. I intentionally put former there because technically they are not former, but I'm doing that intentionally. Like calling those things that be not as though they were, Ambassador says that Romans 4:17, I think that's what that is.
I think so.
Even God will quicken the dead and call it those things that be not as though they were. I think it's Romans 4:17. So that's why I'm calling it, former colonial masters. So I want the two of you, you can take either one. How free is our independence? And how independent is our freedom? Over to you guys.
Wow. That's a both of those are very loaded questions.
I know it does. I mean, like I say, it's not premeditated.
Go ahead, Nia Sang. You can start the ball rolling.
Well, I continue to be guided by things I read from left and right, but this particular quote from Martin Luther King Jr., freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. It happened in Africa, in Latin America, in the Caribbean, most South American countries. They did not just get it on the silver platter or gold platter. They had to fight for it. And when they fought for it, they got it, but with strings attached. That is what that is what our CEO is saying, because countries are free but are independent but not free, because they still have to ask the former boss, the former colonial master, what should we do with this or that? The resources, especially natural resources, are there, but they are not being exploited by the locals. They are exploited by the former colonial masters, who take them and do what they do with them and then bring back the final product and sell it to you at cutthroat prices. I'm thinking especially of cocoa. My parents paid my secondary school with money from cocoa. At that time, it was nothing. But today, I hear cocoa is a big resource, making a lot of money, many people rich. But then they buy the beans, the cocoa beans, the colonial masters buy the cocoa beans, they transform it into chocolate or some other byproduct, and they bring them back to the continent and sell them at cutthroat prices. It was strange for me to realize that somebody in a city in a country called Cote d'Ivoire, that is Ivory Coast, did not even know what the final product of his cocoa beans had become. And he was buying it in the store for so much money, not knowing that it was the product from his sweat. So those things, we may be independent, but we are not free. We may be free, but we are not independent. It depends where you are. It depends how you feel. But as I say, I quote from Martin Luther King, freedom is never voluntarily given. No country gets it freely, and no country gets it on its gold platter. No, it is always at the beck and call of the colonial master, former colonial master. Where we live in this country, well, we are free. Yeah, we are free. As long as you don't poke your finger at my eye, you don't say it against me, you don't say it without justification about me, you just do your thing and go your way. So please, freedom is what it is. Independence is what it is. Independent, well, you may be able to do what you want, but then where do we go from there? We have to see each other as a human being, as a fellow human being. Accept that person, tolerate their own tantrums, and then let them tolerate our own tantrums. And together, we build that bridge of collaboration, collaborating with each other, working together down the street, and not pointing fingers at each other or hitting each other or pushing each other into the traffic while we stay on the curb. It should not be so. Our freedom does not allow us to do that. But we are independent to do what we want on condition that you don't hurt another person.
Right. Yes, I agree. Because if we had true independence and true freedom, we would have no need for police. And we would not have to be concerned about what we say and or do, and then the police catching us for doing whatever it is that we think we're free enough and independent enough to do. So is it an oxymoron? It is and it is not. We do have certain freedoms and liberties that we are free to enjoy, especially here in the diaspora. We're free to enjoy uh, cookouts. We're free to enjoy going to the store and having the money to buy what we need. We're free to enjoy having conversations about anything and everything, while some of our brothers and sisters on the continent do not have that freedom nor that liberty. And what can we do to help make sure that we're all enjoying our freedoms? Well, one thing we can do is, first of all, know what the law says. You can have true freedom and independence when you know what the law says. You know, to be able to go out, like I said, to go out and do whatever you want, slap somebody upside the head, and then think you can walk away with no consequences is not freedom. It's not independence because then they will file charges of assault and then you will end up in jail, fined, or in court. So that's not true freedom. But
Ambassador Lisa,
yes,
you
ma'am.
just said something and I want to play a video and see if that your statement still stand. Do you mind?
Okay.
Yeah, it came to my mind when you said what you said. Hold on a second here.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Well, I see a black man with a red basket.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
I just saw that. Yes, go ahead. I just saw that
At the
yesterday.
checkout point.
You look a little.
Can you guys hear?
Like you're trying to.
No.
But closed. Okay, cool.
You cannot hear it.
No, you
It's
may
low.
not have shared your sound. You may
level
have
is
to
I
low.
did.
share.
I did.
Oh.
Hold on. Okay, wait. It didn't take. Okay, hold on.
You fit
Can you hear
part
now?
of the description at
That's
least.
right.
And where you've been, what have you been up to? You look a little stressed, like you're trying to stay chill, but closed. Okay, cool, excellent.
What do you, I don't know you, sir. Like you're asking me where have I been? I'm confused. Like, what's going on? Are you looking for someone or?
I am looking for someone. If you could just pop your ID out, that'd really make it easier. Like I said, I got a call. Hold on, I got a call. I just need you to comply. Obviously, these guys are shutting down the lane, so you can just have a little conversation with me. We're not slowing anyone else down.
I don't mind having a conversation
Right.
with you, but I don't know what you're doing, like what type of business you're conducting.
Perfect.
Bothering me.
I'll explain myself.
You see what I'm doing.
I'm Officer Johnson. I'm here to protect and to serve. I'd really like to see your ID. If you can just go ahead and hand that over.
I'm not giving you my ID.
So you are going to be giving your ID, and the more you comply, the smoother this will go. But
I'm complying. I'm not going to give you my ID. You're a man of the law. You know how this thing works. I know how this thing works. I'm not no crazy guy. I know I'm not giving you my ID.
I don't know you're not a crazy.
I'm not a suspect. I'm not a suspect. I'm not who you're looking for. I don't know what your deal is. You walked up to me, talk about.
You got a lot to say, my man. Why you got all this aggression? I mean, it seems a little passive, but
Aggression.
I need you to chill out. Show me that ID. Again, if you pop,
I'm not showing you my ID.
you are going to show me ID, and you really started. Hold on, my man. You said you're a man of the law. You really should have stopped there. So obviously, you acknowledge the respect that should be placed my way, right? So I don't understand. If you understand that I'm a man of the law, why? And you're just a civilian, right? So if you're just a civilian and I'm a man of the law, why are you being disrespectful? I'm gonna need to see your ID.
So I'm not trying to.
I got a complaint.
No way.
You need to stop
and have reasonable suspicion that I'm someone that you're actually looking for. Please.
Listen, I got cuffs that I can use. I would rather you just give me your ID. I don't need to make this a thing. Obviously, as a civilian, you're showing me some respect by acknowledging my place as an authority of law, right? Now I
respect you.
So as a civilian, you need to let me do what I do.
I would just like to be respected.
You're just a dude, right? So if you're just a dude, go ahead and hand over your ID.
Right, I'm just a dude.
You're just a dude.
Who are you looking for? Who exactly are you?
I'm looking for, like I said, I've got a description that you partially match.
All right, so what's the crime being?
You don't need that sensitive information. They're trying to do their jobs. They've got this line shut down. We're not, listen.
Doing is trying to go home.
You're not going anywhere till we get a little clarity, my friend.
Okay, so what's the reason you're attacking me?
I'm not attacking you at all. You're the one that's being defensive. I'm here as a member of law enforcement trying to do my job. Now you're doing all kinds of weird you're looking agitated, my man.
What?
You're looking agitated. And what happens when you get agitated in the world?
I'm gonna be real with you, okay? I gotta get out of here.
You're not going anywhere. What's gonna happen if you?
All right. You guys need to do a little bit better. You need to do a little bit better, okay? And I know you guys get hired for a reason. I know you go through protocols and everything. You get training for this stuff, all right? Dude, make it make sense.
Sorry about that, officer.
Seriously.
Have a good day. You guys take care.
Okay. So
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that yesterday myself.
he's supposed to be a free man. How independent is he? And he's
Right.
an independent dude, like the white guy is calling him dude, but he's not free.
Mm-hmm.
Our topic is not racial profiling, but that is part of the challenges with the freedom of our independence or the independence of our freedom, we have to depend on our instincts to get out of situations like this. He is making proclamation. The guy was not agitated. The guy was not making strange moves. The guy did not look any suspicious. He just comes. The guy said, "You're a man of the law." So it's what I don't know if it's being power hungry or it's just I don't understand. I want the two of you to weigh on this based on today's topic.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I saw that yesterday and I thought that was very interesting. He said he said you fit a vague description, a partial description of someone you're looking for. But so now you're just gonna go around talking to every black man because he looks like partially the description of someone you look for. So as I was saying earlier, that's why you must know the law. In order to enjoy any of the freedoms that we claim, or we must know what the law is, because that's how you can defend yourself and make sure that you can have your freedoms and your independence when you know what the law says. Now, I've never had to turn over my driver's license to anybody in America. But I know one thing, when I'm in Africa, they say if the police stop you and ask you for your license, do not give it to them. The best thing I tell them to do is make sure you carry a copy of your license, carry a copy of your passport. I don't know what they would do if they got a hold of it. Is it that they won't give it back? But I'm always told never give your driver's license to anybody.
I
Never
think
give
that
your...
is a blanket statement. It's in
Mm,
certain parts of Africa, not everywhere. And not
okay, well,
even in certain countries, in certain parts of certain countries, not every part of every country. So that I think the person was just trying to caution you, but then if somebody asks you for a driver's license and you give them a copy, you may actually look suspicious. Why don't you have your original? So
I
I
do
think
have
it's
my
just a
original. I don't carry my original
no,
and I
I'm
don't carry
talking
my
about
passport.
no, I'm not talking about
Mm.
you. I'm talking about you may look suspicious to them because they'll be like, why does she not have the original? So I would take that statement with a grain of salt.
But that's what I would say if I was stopped and I gave them a copy. I'm in the street. I don't carry my originals with me. I know that there's a lot of burglary, robbery, anything can happen. So I'm not going to be carrying my valuable documents around on me while I'm in the street. I'm at the market. I'm not driving. So why do I need a driver's license? I'm not driving. So,
And
so
maybe
again,
ID, it should be an ID because a lot of people there, I mean, they have national identification cards because not everybody
mhm.
drives. Unlike here where most people have used their driver's license of their ID, but I continue your response to my question and then we'll go to Nia.
Yeah, so the video, like I said, we're not pointing out racial profiling, but that is exactly what that was. You have a vague description, and so you're going to come in the market and accost the black man. What was
At the
suspicious? What
cash
was the call?
register. At the cash
Yeah.
register.
Yeah. And so what was the cause? What was it was it somebody in the store who called that thought he was being suspicious? Why? Because he was shopping and maybe looking around. When I go to Africa, I get treated like that, and I'm highly offended. And I have a hard time trying to keep my offense level down
You got treated
because
how?
I get almost racially profiled when I go to the market. If the market is not owned by blacks, if it's like a Chinese store, the Indian
Okay,
stores.
yeah, make that clear because let it not sound like
Yes.
it's your African brothers and sisters who are
No, not my no. They're following me around from aisle to aisle. I remember one market I went to, and I was thinking I was getting ready for Christmas dinner. And I had all this stuff in the shopping cart. And every time I got to one aisle, I looked up, there was this Chinese man standing at the other aisle. So I
then
went to another
just
aisle. I looked
leave.
up,
Don't give them your
he was
money.
there. So I ended up getting all this stuff in the shopping cart and deciding at the last minute that I was not buying anything. I paid for
Good.
the soap that my son had bought, and I told him I did not come to Africa to steal. Do I look like I don't have money to shop in your
Good
store?
for
Which
you.
is why, yes, which is why I try to go to the stores owned by African, and I don't barter. I pay them what they ask because I know, I don't know how it is on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, they call it the Manzungo price, meaning that they got a good price from a Manzungo, which is basically a white person. That's what they call me. So and I'm highly offended by that. But I try not to shop in their markets because this is how they treat us. I don't get treated like this at home, but now I'm going to come to Africa where I feel like I should be free amongst my people, and then I'm going to be treated like I'm the criminal. So I take all of my good US dollars right back home, and I leave that shopping cart right there for them to have to put all that stuff back. So um, our independence and our freedom a lot of times is bound up, tied up, wrapped up, however you want to put it, in racial profiling. And that was a very good example, Reverend Pam, that
Yeah,
video
because
you
when you were
shared.
speaking, I thought about the video. One of your answers reminded me about the video about knowing the law. I said, okay, let me share that
Yes,
video. So
yes,
thank you. So we need to hear from Nia Song. What about
yes.
the freedom of our independence or the independence of our freedom?
I thought I addressed that, but I mean,
Have you responded to my question?
yeah, I initially started on that note, but all the same, freedom is freedom depending on how you see it. The individual is free to do as you like, but within the law. You have to understand the law in each country, in each jurisdiction, and know how people behave and how people are expected to respond to law enforcement. They call them law enforcement in some countries, but they're actually law breakers because they make
They
you do
certainly are.
they make you do things you ought not to do because they kind of force you to do their will, not the will of the law of that country or of that piece of territory. So it is up to us to accept the fact that the individual is independent, has freedoms, but there are limits to those. And we know that when we meet a person, we don't just start asking them for their identity card if they've not done anything wrong. You meet them, you greet them, or you don't greet them, you pass, they pass, you let them go. So there is no need of obliging somebody to do something because you are the one with a gun and the other person doesn't have a gun, or you are the person with some intimidating, I don't know, some intimidating something you are holding in your hand, or anything that will scare the other person to forget their own freedom and instead bow to your own. No, it's not like that.
Okay.
I was in a market. I was in a market once. I stay in Kenya. I stay across the street from this particular supermarket. And you would think that the people in the market know me by now. I go to the market every single day, most of the time because I'm just bored with nothing else to do. I just go and I walk up and down the aisles. And I guess, when I think about it, I guess that could be viewed as suspicious. But it's not like I just go in and I don't get anything. I go in and I buy something. I'm always shopping and doing things or buying for someone. But every time I go in the store, they want to look at my pocketbook. Now I'm going in the store and you want to look at my pocketbook, and I'm always asking why. You tell me why you want to look at my pocketbook, and then I will let you look. But you've got to explain to me why you're doing this. And none of the security guards can ever tell me
I've never
why.
had that. I've never had that experience. Why would they want to look at your pocketbook?
Yes, they can never tell me why. One guard just so he said because I was told to ask. If I go to the mall, they want to look at my bag coming in. Why? I haven't bought anything. I'm not in the store. You're standing right here with a cashiers are. You see me in line, you see me cashing out, and you would think that's when you would want to look at my bag. Maybe I snuck something in it, but
Why, I just thought about something. Maybe they don't want people coming into the stores with weapons.
then
I've
say
never,
that. Say I'm
I've
looking for
never
weapons.
experienced that.
Well, one, you are an African woman, so
Ambassador
maybe.
Lisa, you're an African woman too.
I said, well, maybe you look more and you speak more than I do. My children don't let me talk when I go to
Not
Africa.
look, but speak. Yes, not look. We all look
Yes.
the same. We all look. You go to Africa, you blend with everybody until you open your mouth.
Until I open my
So
mouth.
it's not
yes.
about the looks,
So, like I said, my kids don't let me speak when I go because the people will automatically know I'm an American once I open my mouth.
Let me
But
tell you
sometimes,
something. In my case, I was robbed in Bamenda Market in Northwest. This was what? Was it 20,
in where?
In
Cameroon.
Yeah.
Oh.
In Bamenda, this was 2015. And it happened so quickly, and they got away with a huge sum of money that I had in my bag. And at the bag, unfortunately, I should have put the money inside the bag, not on the pocket outside with a zipper. but I put it on that pocketbook. It's easier to pay for stuff. It happened, I'm telling you, Ambassador, in less than 10 seconds. I just felt like some people, like, you know how you're walking in a crowded market and your body touches somebody else.
Right.
So when I realized, I asked the guy who went with us, I said, why did they, because some of the traders saw the person that did it, but for their own safety, they didn't say anything because they could come after them. So they said, oh, bush faller. I said, but I was wearing like an African outfit. I didn't have makeup on. So how could they single me out? They said, look at your skin. Your skin is too smooth and glowing. How many people that live here have that kind of skin? So my skin gave me away.
Wow.
Not my voice, not my accent,
so
not my appearance. It's just my skin. That's what they told me. Say, look at your skin. You see how your skin is glowing and smooth and shiny. How many people that live here have that kind of skin? That's what they told me. But I want to say something. I want, gosh, this thing just clipped. Okay, I'll come back to it, you know. oh no, yeah, it just came back. Okay. Talking about freedom and independence. There are people, Africans and even Blacks, that have businesses. They own it, so they should be free to make decisions or whatever, or speak about their business. Yet they put a non-Black face, a white face in front, because they believe that people will listen to that person more than them. When one of our speakers was actually coming, there's a product that she's going to be exporting. Most of it is made in Kenya, but the final phase of it, she had to do it in the Middle East, because she said if she does the final product in the phase in Kenya and put made in Kenya, it will not see the light of day in the market. So I want us to address that, because that ties in with our lack of freedom, even though we are independent.
Yes. I was in Kenya my last time, which was 2018. And I went to go buy some garments from the marketplace for my sisters. And they took me to this place where most stores and businesses buy the garments. So I'm in there and I'm looking for outfits, and I was like, oh, I can't take that. It's made in India. No, I can't take this home, made in India. And they say, well, why aren't you guys? I said, well, I can't take this stuff back home. I'm in Africa. My sisters, we can go to the store in Philly and get stuff from made in India. She said, come with me, come. And she took me in the back where the women were sewing the garments, and they were sewing labels in that said made in India. I said, what are you doing? I can't take this stuff home to my sisters. They said, because nobody will buy it if they knew that it came from us. So we have to put labels in it that make people think it came from somewhere else. So Reverend Pam, that is the same situation. I said, well, can I get some outfits that you have not put those labels in? Because I can't take my sister's home outfits that say made in India when I'm in Africa. But this is what the stores and the marketplaces were doing. They were putting labels in that say these things were made in India, when I saw with my own eyes that these people were sewing labels in that said made in India. So we don't respect things that we do, and we don't respect our sisters and our brothers who are trying to make a living and trying to make a life and a business, because we think they don't know anything. We think they haven't arrived, and we always think that someone knows better and does better and has better than we have. So your sister, the sister who's coming, who's making products in India, and now she's got to put on the face of someone else, because we will think, oh my goodness, this is so much better because this is the face that is being shown. And I would like to understand the psychology of that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was going to say that is where we ignore, or we put aside our own independence. We forget that we're independent. If we're independent, then we should produce goods, or we should let our goods reflect our independence.
Yes.
Made in Cameroon, made in India, made in China, those are for those countries, but made in Cameroon, made in Nigeria. That tells us that these people are able to do something for themselves. So let us learn to accept who we are, rather than looking out to the other people.
Looking out for something. I agree, Nancy. I think we should be supporting our own, and we should be pushing that narrative that we need to support our own. How else are we going to come up? How else are our brothers and sisters going to come up if we don't respect them enough to buy their products, to promote their products, and to push their products so that other people can see, oh, if she buys it, oh, there must not be anything wrong with it. Then let me buy that. I'm very particular when I'm in Africa where I shop. I'm very particular where I spend my money. I don't want to stay in five-star hotels. I don't want to stay in the hotel chains because I didn't come to Africa to give my money to hotels that are owned by white people. I come here to help promote my brothers and sisters. So if I have to stay in a hotel that's a little less, doesn't have all the amenities of a Hilton or something of that nature, so be it. I always said I was born to live in Africa anyway because I can do without a whole lot of things, and this is what I try to promote because if we don't, who will? That's my whole motto. If we don't promote it, who will? If we don't use it, who will?
Ambassador Lisa, I agree with you, but let me say something that I said during the National Business League, their 123rd anniversary in 2023. I was on a panel and I said, I will support our people, but you have to give me quality products. I'm not going to buy a substandard product because somebody's black. I'm not talking about a hotel. So even if the hotel is not a five-star hotel, so long as the customer service is good, the place is clean, I will support it. So I just want to encourage our people. When we put out products, let's not take shortcuts either, because there are some of our people that give our people bad names. Some of them don't have customer service. They have good products, but they don't have good customer service. And
But have they been taught customer service?
I agree. But what I'm saying, lack of customer service is a pandemic on the country. That's the truth. In several countries, you walk into a business, the people that are there looking at you like you missed your way. Here, for example, you walk into a store, a restaurant, welcome to this, welcome to that. I don't want to call any store. Even if they don't mean it, they are trained to say it. But you know, because there's a lot of competition, especially now with the internet, you can always order stuff online or use remote services. So customer service, and we're going to address customer service on this program before we address, but I just want to say, I will support our people so long as the product is good quality. If it's substandard, I will not do it. Because first of all, patronizing a substandard product keeps them in that low level. They need to know that there's competition and they need to hustle, you know, they need to strive better. You know, quality is very, very important. I think Dr. Crosslin is back.
Yes, it looks like she is.
Going, so we need to get her in.
But it looks
so
like she's frozen.
Yeah, that's right. I think she's frozen at this time.
Yes, I agree with you, Reverend Pam. So part of my mission, I don't just go to teach and preach, but I'm also educating as well. Like you said, customer service. If people have never been out of their country, out of their sphere of influence, they won't know that we expect something different. So I stay at a guest house when I'm in Kekamega. My brother has built a house that he's built for me on his property. I most likely will stay there once or twice, but I like to be where the people, I want to be able to get up when I want to go outside, go across the street to the market, watch the people in the marketplace, and just be able to sit. You know, I don't want to have to wait for somebody to come and take me into town. But the place where I stay, the quality is not that good. I remember having to go buy a pillow at the store across the street because the pillow that was in the hotel was made out of plastic and newspaper. I said, I can't sleep on this. But because I stay there on a regular basis, I've developed a relationship with the owner. And I tell him that this is not good. I come here and I bring people, but I will not bring people if this is the kind of pillows. I understand that you may not know better, but let me show you what is expected of people that you are going to be hosting outside. You know, if this is what the Kenyans are accustomed to, so be it. But if you want to expand your business, if you're looking to expand, if you're looking to, you know, be able to service a wider clientele, these are the kind of things that are going to need to come up. Now, I may not be able to do anything. Mhm.
So, no, let me say something. I'm glad you were patient with him. Let me tell you, one of the best pillows I've ever slept on were in Cameroon. So there are materials, even feathers. They have feathers. So this particular hotel person could not say they have Dunlop there, they have foams, they have feathers, they have fabric, they have a lot of soft stuff that they can use in pillows on the continent. I'm just saying. So I'm glad you educated him, but
Yes.
sometimes some people just want to take shortcuts. That's the truth.
And I understand that they're probably used to taking the shortcuts. I don't like bribery. I hate it with a absolute passion.
Me too.
But after going to the continent and seeing the conditions of some of the people, I can understand it. Doesn't mean I like it and doesn't mean I accept it, but I now understand it. But so like I said, with the guest house, I'm sharing her. You have to spend, and it's very cheap, which I love because I love to. Like I said, I'd rather put my money in the hands of the people than in the hands of institutions and people. Obviously, this man has some money. He owns the guest house and the gas station in front of it, but he may not have that much money because the rooms are so cheap. Like I said, I can basically sleep kind of anywhere. So I can conform. If this is all we have, then I can do that. If this is not, I'm good with that. I can adjust. But it takes us who have some expertise to be able to come in and help gently. And I say that very um succinctly. That's not the word. I say this very cautiously, that we have to gently help our brothers and sisters
Agreed.
understand that there is a different way. I tell people all the time, I do not come to Africa to change you.
Or to
I don't come,
judge.
I do not come to make you think that I, as an American, I got better than you. I come to
Mm-mm.
add to what you are already doing.
Exactly.
Take from me what you need and do better than what you are doing. So
Agreed.
yes, so
I think
these are
Dr.
some of the
Crossland
things
is
that
back.
I know we kind of got away from independence and freedom, but that's part of our independence and
Oh no,
freedom.
that is part of it.
Yes, that's part of our independence and freedom also to be able to share with our brothers and sisters who do not have, do not know, do not have, have not had an opportunity to travel around and see how things are different in South Africa as they are, from Kenya or from Kenya to Uganda. So we have to be able to go in. I do a lot of observing. I observe a lot. I'll spend 1, 2, 3 years just watching what you do, how do you make before I begin to even make suggestions on how I can help you improve your business, how I can help you improve. Because I need to know, are you doing this because this is all you know? Are you doing this because you're trying to get over? You're trying to do it very cheaply, So we all have that responsibility to help our brothers and sisters, especially on the continent, be able to enjoy some of the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy here in the diaspora by simply adding to their knowledge, to their wisdom. Dr. Gloria, it looks like you are here. We're welcome. You are muted.
Oh, is she
Can you?
driving or something?
There
She's
you
off.
go. I don't know.
Hello,
We see you
Doctor.
had trouble trying to get in, so we're glad to see you.
Oh no, it was no trouble. We have some clouds and it did start to rain, but then it only rained for just to get the car wet and then
Oh,
it stopped. You know how
okay.
that goes.
Yes. Yes, I was having trouble. I'm on the camera right now, but this morning I kept having bandwidth issues, so I had to turn my camera off until it was time for me to minister communion. Then I had to turn it on and turn it back off because then my scriptures wouldn't work. So I understand how the internet is very temperamental as well. But we're talking about freedom and independence. Are we free? Are we independent? What was the question you gave us, Reverend Pam? How did you put that? Um, the independence of our freedom or the freedom in our independence? What say you, Dr. Gloria? You're muted again. There you go.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. So for me, I like to always grow. And if I have an opportunity where I can grow, I'm going to take it. And I take every opportunity I can for growth. So, for example, if I always thought the same way that I've always thought, then I'm not growing. And so, because if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to get what I've always got.
That's right.
So, I don't speak for other people, I just speak for myself. And I thank God that through Him, I'm able to grow. And I don't need other people's permission to grow. And I think that's where people have take issue, because I will let them know, no, I may not say anything, or I may say something, but it's my decision. And so if it's an opportunity that I have where I'm able to grow, I will definitely take the high road. And I'm always examining my opportunities for growth, because I'm just a stickler on what can I do to help me. I know people pretend that, oh, they care about other people, but nobody's going to care about you the way you care about yourself. So if a person is not open to new opportunities for growth, maybe it might not be their time yet. So if they are, I'm sure that they will find a way to grow and how I can help them. But I'm not going to not take an opportunity for me to grow at someone else's expense or my own expense. Because for me, that's what life is about, purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Gloria, for your comments. So, wow, it is almost 5 o'clock already. That time has gone by very quickly. So we're almost at the top of the hour, and we're still talking about freedom and independence. You said earlier, Nia Sung, that of course we already know that this is United States almost 200 plus anniversary of independence, and France is celebrating their independence. Who are they being independent from? First of all, let me ask that. Who are they
No,
independent from?
no, France did not get independence from anybody. They got independence from the king. They overthrew their king. So remember Marie Antoinette and the King Louis XIV or Louis XV or Louis XVI, one of those kings, the people rose against them and overthrew them. And that is when France became the republic that it is. So
okay. So
it
they
was a kingdom.
So they overthrew the king,
yes,
for their independence. Yet
yes,
they are colonizers of many countries still in Africa. And when they want their independence,
they colonized the greatest number of countries in Africa.
yes, and when they want their freedom from France, we have an issue, right? Is that what we're saying? Is that how
most of the countries that had independence after they had been colonized by France are not really independent, because they signed some agreement in those days which cedes their natural resources to France. Actually, there's some money that is used in Cameroon and 16 other countries, if I'm not mistaken. The French franc, they call it the CFA franc. It's printed in France for a cost and transported to Africa at a cost paid by the different governments. So the different governments are actually using the money in their country, but they pay everything to France. France owns, France has the right over all that. So it is a problem that is continuously being debated.
Yes,
but no French president has stood up and said, okay, we'll give you freedom to print your own money. We'll give you freedom to have everything in your home country. They don't do that. The natural resources are being exploited by French companies. And even when you want to say nationalize, it's in name. You appoint your own son to run the company in the name of France, not in your country's name, because you run it and you are listening to Uncle Sam or Uncle, I don't know, Uncle Francis.
Uncle France.
In France.
Uncle Frank. You listen to Uncle Frank.
Yeah, so that's the thing. That's the problem. Yes.
Wow. So
countries in Africa got independence on paper. So the independence for most African countries in French, especially French-speaking countries, is on paper, not in action.
not no actuality. Yes, that makes sense. So so we must continue to pray for our brothers and sisters to be free from the colonizer,
Yes.
so they can continue, so they can actually grow. They cannot grow while they're under the thumbnail and the thumbprint of
No.
someone else who is constantly keeping them down at a certain level, and that's not freedom, nor is that independence. And that can't be. We've got to see that our people are free. And I share this quite often, that most of our African countries are only 60 years free.
Independent.
Independent. I have to figure out which
Well,
quote
independent,
unquote.
but not free.
Yeah. Yeah, they're only 60,
Yeah.
65. Yeah, I think the oldest country is 65. I think 68 might be Nigeria. But they're only 68
Well,
years old.
Ghana had independence in 1958.
No, it was Ghana.
Oh,
Ghana
Ghana. Okay, 58.
Yeah, Ghana had independence in 1958.
Ghana has had it for like 70 something years.
Yeah.
No, not
So
70
Ghana was the
something.
first country.
Yeah.
Well, if it was free in 58, it's not 70 years old.
Well, they had
It's
the
still,
independence.
it's still 65. It's still,
And it
well,
was 6th of
66
March,
years.
and it was 6th of March 1958. So that's
And
what,
that's 58,
yeah.
not 68, 58.
No, 58. Yeah, 58.
Right. So it's still not 70 years, because that's only a year before I was born. And I'm not,
We don't want to
I'm
know your
not
age.
yet 70. Oh,
Yes. So that being said, they got the independence. Well, African countries got the independence, but they do not have the freedom to do as they pleased, to govern as they pleased. They have to govern according to the dictates of the former colonial master.
wow. Wow. That has got to be so confusing to try.
Technically, it was a pseudo-independence.
Pseudo-independence. You muted yourself, Reverend Pam.
That's right. Yes. Yes. So.
Okay. So.
No, I'm saying always asking for aid.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry, my background has become noisy. Let me mute.
We can't hear you. We can't hear your background now.
The background, yes.
You cannot hear the background noise?
No.
No.
But you may hear it, there are some kids playing. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, okay, where do we go from here? We got 3 minutes before the top of an hour. I wish we had some. I want to say something back earlier when we were talking about customer service.
Yes.
I went to a restaurant this week, in a fast food chain restaurant. I had never been to their restaurants. I've always gone to their, spots that were in the mall. And when we walked in, first of all, the place was very lovely. It was very clean. And the gentleman was cleaning the windows, washing the windows. And I made a comment about the milkshake. Oh, I'm going to try that. So he was like, yeah, they're both very good. So when we got our food, we ordered, they gave us a little thing to go to our table and sit down, and they brought the food to us. Everybody in the restaurant, all the clerks that were working, was so wonderful. So the gentleman ends up coming over to talk to us, asking us how was our service and different things like that. Come to find out, he was the assistant manager, and he was washing the windows. But we were telling him that everybody was so courteous. I said, even the fresh flowers on a table at a fast food restaurant. I said, now I've never been to your sit down restaurant. I'm always in the mall where, you're in the food court and you have all the tables. So they're trying to get that food out. But this was such a pleasant experience. It is owned by Christians. You may know the name of the restaurant. You may know what I'm talking about, but this was the first time actually
I know them. They don't open on Sundays, right?
Yes, they don't open on Sundays. And it was just so pleasant. He just kept coming back to make sure there was anything else we could do. Could he get us anything? And I was like, and then he showed us who the owner was. The owner was there that day in his shorts and stuff, and he was talking to the staff. They weren't really having a staff meeting, but they were having just having some conversation. But when you looked at the way they were dressed, everybody's uniforms were pressed. They were clean. They were smiling. there was this one lady who was cleaning the table. She was just so pleasant. I told him, I said, she needs a raise. She is just one of the most pleasant people I have ever experienced. And it was a good experience. And I remember there's another fast food chain that used to have a university. They used to send their staff to the university to learn customer service. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it closed down. They just stopped using it.
I
But
know what you're talking about.
yeah, you can definitely tell the difference when our people are not trained to treat people right. And that is part of our freedom and our independence to receive good customer service from people and to also give it, to be able to be independent enough and free enough to know that the person you're serving deserves to be treated with respect and kindness. They're coming in here to spend their money, which pays your salary, and then you're nasty, you don't want to smile, you're chewing chewing gum, you're on your earbuds. We're trying to give our order, and you talking to somebody on the phone about your baby daddy mama drama. So it was just such a
Let me
pleasant.
tell you, it's interesting that you brought that up because it's all part of the freedom thing we're talking about and independence. You know, I've been on the road for a while. Just 2 weeks ago at the airport, and this lady, she was African American. The way she was welcoming people into the restroom, the ladies' restroom, she did it with everybody, whether it was white, black, red, green, blue. I was so moved because in all my years of travel, I never seen that. I was led to just empty my wallet, whatever cash was there, to bless her.
We're
I'm
past the top
talking
of the
about,
hour. The top of the hour.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I got
All right, Ambassador
Mhm.
Lisa, over
Just,
to you.
just hold your
Yes,
thought.
but finish your thought, Reverend Pam, please.
No, I'm just saying, I had never experienced that with all my traveling. And
Mhm.
then just last week, I went to a soul food place and the line was long, the food was good, but the cashier was on the phone. So I looked at her, I said, ma'am, I need to go. Then she put the person on hold to ring me up.
Wow. See.
Over to you.
Wow. That's some kind of crazy. She had to put somebody on hold so she could ring you up. Store is crowded and she is talking on the phone to someone else.
That's poor customer service.
Poor customer. Okay, what's going on here? Poor customer service, poor training. And we are at the top of the hour, and we're going to take a really quick break, 5-minute break. So we encourage you to go grab a drink of water, check on your dinner if that's what you need to, but come back in less than 5 minutes after the top of the hour and the anthem. We're going to come with our announcements, and we will be wrapping up our conversation on freedom and independence.
Oh, Africa. Oh no. Africans, Africans for Africa. 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 Africans have many bright ideas. If only you let us share. If you really want to know my history, please come, sit down, listen to my story. God gave us a wisdom. He guides our footsteps, makes us shine and transform. Hey, as one people, with so many cultures, yet indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us all unite behind AfricaOnline Media Corporation. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. It's time to come together, promote awareness, progress, and solution. Hey. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans can rally for a common cause, to believe without judgment in what our brother does, to identify and resolve our challenges, to allow each other's ideas without regard to standards. As one people with so many cultures, yes indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Let us solve all the problems plaguing our continent. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Let us empower Africans in and out of Africa. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. AfricaOnline Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. They have all the resources we need to benefit our society. Oh. Education for everyone, if we believe. Prosperity for Africans, if we believe. Medical facilitation for Africans, if we believe. Stand up, Africa, yes, for Africa. AfricaOnline Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization, the motherland. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. We were enslaved not because we were weak, but because of our hospitality. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Jump on the AfricaOnline miracle jet. Don't be left behind. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Together we shall succeed. Together we will win. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. We are writing our own story, the truth, and we shall tell it to the world. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. No more lies. Africans own Africa.
No more lies. Africans own. No more lies. Africans own Africa. And those of us in the diaspora, we are here to help gain back the freedom and the liberties for our African brothers and sisters. Nia Sung, our topic for next week.
I'm kind of.
That would be me.
Yeah.
Oh, Reverend Pam, you.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about civic duty next week, you know, and that works out as a good sequel to this freedom, because we freedom is not free, like Nia Sung said or you said, and our people need to understand that it's a privilege to have the opportunity to vote, you know, in elections. That's just one of the civic duties, not the whole thing. So we need to understand, and as a matter of fact, civic duty is one of the 12 strands of our systemic mentoring program at Africa's Brain Bank. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We hope to have some guests here. And let's look, Ambassador Lisa, we need to have some guests on, you know, on some programs, you know, for the rest of the year. I know this year everybody's been busy, but the other announcement is our sister organization, Africa's Brain Bank, is having its 6th annual summit and charity ball Ambassador Lisa Nielsen, look at 53 days to go. Let's say 52.
Wow.
Yeah, that is close.
Wow.
The highlight of the scheduled events. Yeah, Ambassador Lisa, when you came in 2022, it was 3 days. Nia, so when you were there, the inaugural event, it was 1 day, 2 activity. Ambassador Lisa, yours was 2 days, 3 activities. Now it's 5 days.
Wow.
Activities. So things have changed. So you need to be there. The prices range from $250 onward, depending on how many activities you want to attend. You know, we want to make sure that we are expecting about 100 students, but we need sponsorships. That's what's going to determine how many students are there. And the fundraiser is for STEM education, because STEM is going to be our gateway to economic freedom and power. And it's STEM education, not just for students in Africa, but even students here, underprivileged students. So you can peruse the link. I've put it on the website. You see, we have a powerful lineup of speakers of diverse background, and we're going to be honoring some amazing sons and daughters of Africa. You know, so go in there, support. You can advertise your business. You know, you can also exhibit, because the hotel that we are in is an exhibitor's dream. There's a double foyer. So Ambassador Lisa, we needed to bring all your ambassadors. You guys should have at least 1 or 2 tables near, so bring all the Bangwa people and all your students. Dr. Crossley, get your Mr. DC and all your other networks to support. Please, over to you, Niaso.
Yes, we are going back to the discussion, freedom and independence. What does it all mean to you? How do you find yourself in this mix? How do you participate or not participate? Are you just indifferent? You say, okay, well, that's the world, let it be, and it will be. Or are you actively enjoying your freedom? Are you actively enjoying your independence? Are you both independent and are you free? Or what exactly are you doing? Feel free to join us if you can, but if you cannot, since nobody else has joined us, Ambassador Lisa, what else do we have to say? You said you had a question or something to ask everybody to say before as we continue, rather.
Well, yeah, so I think we can actually, you know, it's 4th of July weekend. I think we can make the show a little bit brief today. If we hear from Dr. Crossley, and I think we can take the round of
the table.
Since it's 4th of July weekend.
Okay. There you go, Dr. Crossley. I see a full picture of you.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been a wonderful conversation today, and I learned a lot. And it's one thing for me, I can only speak for myself. It's one thing to just talk, but then it's a whole nother thing to actually do and to put into action the growth process. And the journey is quite interesting and quite engaging, and it's life. And people have a choice to choose how they choose to live it and how they choose to make decisions. And everyone is responsible for their own choices that they make. And that helps them to determine what level they are at. If they're at a adolescent age, in their growth mentality and mindset, or if they're teenager mindset or adult, or excuse me for laughing, or aging. But there is a science to the growth, and I've read plenty of books on it. And there is a science and a discipline to growth. And I just encourage everyone to enjoy their journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't go away because you still have to give your last word. So Dr. Crossley, please just hang in there. Yeah, Ambassador Lisa?
That it was her last word.
No, it's not yet. Oh, that was her last word? Oh,
yeah, you asked us for our last word.
Yeah, so that was our last word. Remember we said it's 4th of July weekend.
Okay, Dr. Crossley, thank you very much. And see you next week. Civic duty is going to be the topic. So please make sure you're with us next week. As always, I know
and please don't forget to push the event in New York, Ambassador Dr. Crosslin. We need your help.
Yes. So,
Yes.
Ambassador Lisa, your last word then.
Thank you. So we have been talking about freedom and independence. Are they mutually exclusive? Are they the same? Or are they good, bad, and indifferent? We can't do one without the other. Sometimes we have one without the other, but we need to be able to be free and independent. This has been an enlightening conversation. And while it seemed like we may have been all over the place, every place that we have been has been about freedom and independence. I've enjoyed the conversation as well. And before I go, let me just say that we here at Africa Online are here every Sunday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We encourage you to join us wherever you are. Use the time zone converter to find out the time in your neighborhood and in your neck of the woods, because we have a variety of conversation and speakers that benefit the African on the continent and those of us in the diaspora. We also need you to go to our YouTube page, our Facebook page, like, subscribe, leave your comments, and join us. We are here for you. Thank you, Nia Sang, for this time of my last word on the
Thank you
subject.
very much. Thank you very much. Our CEO, Reverend Pam, please.
Yeah,
Your
thank
last
you,
word.
Nia Song, Ambassador Lisa, Dr. Crosslin. Even though we're ending the broadcast today, we still want everybody, even our viewers, to think about the freedom of their independence and the independence of their freedom. And keep in mind that freedom is not free. Historically, people have had to pay for freedom, and sometimes they still don't get complete freedom. And while some people may say they are independent, or a nation may say they are independent, there are still several nations on the continent that are not independent. They are depending on colonial masters, former colonial masters. Some of them are depending on new ones that are like the Chinese people. The Chinese people are not colonial masters, but they are a type because they are trying to take over everywhere, including the villages. So let's think about the freedom of our independence and the independence of our freedom. Thank you so much. I will see you. Please follow us on Facebook and on YouTube, like our channel, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are streaming live on YouTube.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Crosslin, Ambassador Lisa, myself, and our CEO, Dr. Pam. Thank you very much, everybody. And please let us make it a rendezvous next Sunday, and let us make it a date and be together so that we can move forward as independent